Today's return guest is my dear friend Jess Coleman, who graduated with me at high school and then a few years later from homeopathic school in New Zealand. Jess will be sharing with us the results of the New Zealand Homeopathic Demographic Survey, as well as sharing with us her beautiful initiative of supporting new and existing homeopaths to have a thriving practice. Jess is also the rep for Radar Opus in New Zealand, so if you're wanting to purchase this amazing repertorization software, which I have personally been using since 2011, then do get in touch with Jess for a demo. And visit her website, fruitionmindbodyhealth.co.nz, and to join her membership, visit homeopaths.nz. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and welcome back to Homeopathy Hangout, where we get to hang out with my buddy, Jess Coleman, today, all the way from New Zealand. Welcome. Kia ora.
Oh, hey, kia ora.
So the homies are going to have to listen back to our episode. I can't remember the episode number. Do you remember? I'll have to just look for Jess Coleman. Then you're going to have to listen to how we met and Jess's story of how she became a homeopath. But the short of it all is that Jess and I were in school together in our final year in New Zealand. And then 10 years later, bumped into each other at the homeopathy school. And I'm like, I know you. And now we get to hang out. I'm sorry. So what episode was that?
Episode 219.
219. Awesome. Well, go have a listen back on that. And then I think, did we talk about the demographic survey on that one? Or was that when Barbara hopped on afterwards? We talked about that one.
Yeah, we did. This was when it was at the ethics committee. We spoke about it. So it wasn't even a thing and nobody had actually done it or anything like that.
So that must be, that was at least 2 years ago now, because I remember it going through the ethics committee, and then when it was actually going, I think it was when we had Barbara on. But what's the results of the demographic survey? Do you happen to have that with you, or do you know what's happened with that?
I know a fair bit. Barbara just sent some of it through to share with you.
Cool.
She said hi, by the way.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Oh, that's amazing. So you can actually share some with us today.
Yeah. I didn't expect. I just asked her how many participants there were because I couldn't remember how many there had been, and she sent me through her slides from the conference talk that she gave.
Oh, exciting!
So that's all the information. So I'm just gonna, give you a bit of it because it is really interesting.
Yes,
but
please.
Also probably not surprising as well.
Okay.
So the biggest age group is 52 to 65. That's most of our homeopaths. We have, out of that 181, there was 147 actually practicing. And so...
practicing. Oh, that's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and the majority of homeopaths work under 5 hours a week on homeopathy. So of those practicing ones, yeah. And most, 66% of them had other jobs. And there was a lot of reasons for the challenges they face. They had a lot of questions about challenges they were facing as a homeopath. And these are all things that we know, lack of confidence, like business skills, how to building a client base, isolation, the fact that the public don't understand homeopathy, things like that. Yeah, that's a kind of really basic overview of the survey. But it was quite... not surprising, but also a bit sad, You
said that Barbara presented this at the New Zealand Homeopathic Conference last year in September. It was in Nelson, I think, hey?
Yeah, it was in Christchurch.
Oh, in Christchurch. Oh, my goodness. But it's wonderful that the survey was done. Like you said, I think most people probably suspected that would be the case, but it's wonderful that it was done. So you actually have that data. You've got something to build on. I think one of the things that's probably a little bit scary with that as well is the age of the homeopaths, which, all of us kind of suspected anyway, but I think there's probably a variety of different things because many of us only find homeopathy when we have kids. And then depending on when we have kids, we're probably starting on the back foot. Like there's not many of us that come straight out of school and study to become homeopaths. But it is worrying because we do want to make sure that those young ones are coming in and, keeping the profession alive.
Yeah, I think you could term young ones as, 30 plus. And they kind of need a little bit of life experience, right? Would you agree? that you need some.
Yeah, but also not anymore, because that's used to be my way of thinking. But then after having people like Hillary on, who started from 19, and Ian Watson was like 19, and Marcus Fernandez was like 19 when they started. And they all will say that actually it wasn't such a bad idea because you didn't have all the preconceived ideas that we tend to have with life experience. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, that actually makes sense. So didn't really think about it that way. And I always think if you like, that would be, if you're coming straight out of school and you don't feel like treating menopause or prostate problems or things like that, you could actually just create a niche clinic just in children's ENT or something like that. I always think like age shouldn't be a reason for, like, if you feel you're too young to do homeopathy, there's always lots you can do. You don't have to do like, things that you don't feel comfortable treating. You can just treat like eczema or whatever. You can keep it nice and superficial. You don't have to do the really deep mental, emotional things.
It might be an interesting, I'm just trying to think of my peer group at that age.
Yeah.
What we would have been treating it for, So, there's something to be said for that, I guess.
Yeah, and less than 5 hours a week, that's really sad as well, because it's kind of like a self-perpetuating or self-fulfilling prophecy, because, that's not really the word that I'm after, where you can't get the experience to get the confidence if you don't have a busy clinic. So the experience and the confidence comes with having a busy clinic. And so if you're doing homeopathy less than 5 hours a week, it's really hard to get that, which actually kind of like segues me into what you're doing now, which is your mentoring program, which I think is amazing.
Just one quick, because you did ask if there were any other memberships or things coming up. Sorry.
Yes, surveys. If there's any other surveys.
Well, it's opened, a can of worms, I suppose. No, in a good way. And I think that Barbara's setting up some new surveys as we are speaking. So about what is deemed success, because perhaps we have an idea of what a successful homeopath is, and maybe it's not that. Maybe seeing up to 10 people a week is success. Most of our homeopaths work part-time, and perhaps that's all they can see in that time, and just getting some clarification around that and what people really
what they want out of it. Hey, I would just say if 66% of them have to have another job. I mean, everyone has different definitions, but I would say if you're able to do homeopathy, make a career out of it. If that's your passion, maybe it's not your passion, but we need passionate homeopaths who are doing homeopathy full-time and don't need other jobs to supplement what they're doing. I mean, if you would...
The second part is really important, the not having another job. I mean, and if you're like me, I now think of my being a mum as my other job, because trying to do the two at once, I don't know about you, but I found that really hard. But it means that I kind of work more part-time during the week because I'm home after school. But I don't have another job apart from teach a couple of dance classes, which I don't really count as a job.
Yeah, amazing. What would be interesting to put in that survey is how many of those people having a second job and would like to do homeopathy full-time, because if it is that they just want to do homeopathy part-time, I guess that's completely different to actually preferring to do homeopathy full-time but not being able to. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, so there's going to be more surveys done and more data, and it's been a really interesting process to be part of the last one. This one I'm not. I've got other projects on, so I'm going to be very interested to see what happens.
I think you said that they worked with Homeopathy Research Institute, the HRI, with Rachel Roberts to make sure that it was all done ethically and correctly.
We worked with Al Gray.
Al Gray. Oh, good.
Data amazing lady who just did magical things with the data. Christine. I'm not a data person, so what happened was just like, wow, this is the whole thing. Yeah, they were really amazing. It was really interesting. It was good to see Al. It's been a while.
Well, the next thing that would be great to see now is having that template used in countries all over the world to get some data on, what homeopaths are doing worldwide.
Actually, Barbara's going to Greece to present it at the HRI
conference.
In July, I want to say.
Oh, my goodness. She's going to have the best time. We have had Rachel on talking about their conferences, and it sounds amazing. So talk to us a little bit about your membership, Jess, because I think this actually ties in very nicely with the results of the demographic survey, because you're so passionate about helping homeopaths. Yeah, it does. We didn't actually plan it this way, but it does segue nicely into what you're
I
doing.
feel like we were talking about community last time. The survey was happening. We were, doing the cakes and cases thing. And then this idea was bubbling, and it has been for a long time, about some kind of membership for homeopaths that sort of takes care of all that by basically supporting the homeopath in every way they need. And so Kate and I started Homeopaths NZ, which is strictly for homeopaths either studying or graduated. And it's a supportive community. I don't think there's anything like it. I could be wrong there, but it's not where there is homeopaths sort of telling you how they do things. This is the way I do it. This is the way you should do it, or anything like that. It's more like, this is how I do things, but how do you do things? And what can we work on? What are you struggling with? Can we share information on that? Or this is the way I've always done it, or, and it goes cases, business, marketing, anything to do with homeopathy and practice, then we can offer support with that. So I started this with Kate. She's stepped back into the cakes and cases world now. So
that's great. I mean, I think it'll be interesting from that survey, the amount of people that are not practicing because they don't feel supported. And it sounds like that's what you're really providing, is that support. And I don't know about you. I mean, I always thought, oh man, Jess was so lucky because even while you were still studying, you got to team up with Leanne, and just having that support network or somebody else there that you can draw on, I think was what helped you to be such an amazing homeopath. And I just kind of like did my own thing, and I felt so alone for so long. And it's actually amazing that I kept on practicing. I think I just was so determined to make it work, but it got very lonely there for a little while, and it was very easy to give up when you are in that space and you don't feel that there's anyone out there, just like echo, this is empty, and it's like, where is everyone?
there's I was talking to Stephen Castle. I might have this figure wrong, but there's been about 6,000 qualified homeopaths since 80s or 90s, fully qualified homeopaths in New Zealand. Where are they? Where's the 6,000 homeopaths gone? That mind boggled me. Only 187 did the survey. I know heaps more homeopaths than the ones that did the survey.
Because even out of our year, I wonder how many of our cohort is still practicing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember just going, I'd never really thought about, when I started to study homeopathy, I never really thought about the outcome and what I'd be needing to do afterwards. I didn't really think about the business side of things. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it.
I never thought about that either.
Until like year 3. And then I was like, hang on. What happens next? Like, where do we go? Because it was such a nurturing environment too, wasn't it? The college, we had peers and we had teachers and we had supervision.
Weekends together. It was amazing. Like everyone, we kind of just forgot that we were actually there to study and then make careers out of this. We're just all like hanging out all weekend, having a great time. Yeah. It was wonderful.
Fantastic. So I remember getting the fear, and like, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm a mum, and do I have the skills that I need to set up? How do I even go about that? Like, what's the first thing that I need to do? And I just, so I was really lucky. I went to work with the Healing Haven, and then I moved away and I opened a branch of the Healing Haven, and I got that community, going. And then when COVID hit, I don't know if I told you about my burnout, like before. Yeah. So when COVID hit and the lockdowns hit, I realized that I was really, really burnt out. And that was on me, and the way I was living and the way I was trying to do everything and sort of hamster wheeling and then falling off the hamster wheel and, and collapsing and then jumping back on and doing things like that. But I didn't quite realize that until COVID. So a lot of things changed then. And one of the things was that I started my own business. So I was back to being alone. I had skills. I had discovered skills that I didn't know I had. I'd learnt skills and I had my sort of feet as a homeopath, but I was still alone. And that's the thing I really struggled with, is not having anyone to talk to about it. Like, you have maybe a difficult client, you kind of need someone to talk to about that, or a difficult case, and I've only got my brain, for cases. So I can, it's an okay brain. I quite like it.
It's a great brain. Just for the record for our listeners, I paid that brain to do blog writing for me for quite some time because Jess is just brilliant at getting information out of that brilliant brain of his. So, but then just doing that alone, I completely understand. I went through that in New Zealand a bit, but in Australia when we first arrived here as well, I didn't know anyone, so it was very, very hard until I found my tribe, and then everything's so much easier. Like my homeopathy tribe.
I mean, you're a bit amazing. And you did it anyway, and I think you can spot the ones that may have felt the fear and done it anyway. Mm. And then you can spot the ones that felt the fear and found it too overwhelming. Mm. And I think the fear is the same whether you do it anyway or not, but it's whether you keep doing it.
I think a lot of that fear also, because I was talking about this with Sarah and I were chatting because we were driving into Melbourne to catch up with some homeopaths now that I'm on the road. And we were just saying that the set of skills that you need to be a homeopath is so different to the set of skills you need to be a good business person. And Liz, how could you ever know that when you start to learn homeopathy? And it's not like you can, as a homeopath, then step into roles where somebody's just paying you to be a homeopath. I mean, there's like a couple of places, not many, but for naturopaths, quite often they can walk into clinics, they can work for wholesalers, like suppliers like Integria or whoever. As a rep, there's, they can walk into a house shop and go work there. Like there's lots of options for them. For homeopaths, it's really not. So,
and there's not that many there's also a lot of naturopaths that are suffering the same issue, trying to work alone and things like that. And yeah, it's actually quite a thing there, but you're right. They have a lot more options. People kind of know what naturopathy is as well.
Yeah.
In the broader sense of things.
Yeah. So you found yourself alone during COVID and then starting your own business. And then how is that kind of mutated then into the membership?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I probably have to disclaimer here and say that since COVID, life has been I've had a lot of life lessons thrown at me. I don't know what that's about, but it's really been quite a pastime. But what happened was I jumped on the network and I asked about study groups because I said, is anyone actually doing a study group? Otherwise, I'd have to set one up. And Kate was already doing capes and cases. So that was great. And I was like, this is exactly what I've been missing, is this camaraderie, this community, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm back in things. And so that was great. But then we started the Hotties group, which was for the graduates of homeopathy. And, the same stuff was coming up, the same sort of things that I felt, just in discussions and things like that. The same sort of feelings that I had in those final years were still relevant. And then the survey came out, and we got the data and it was relevant. Same sort of fears and things like that, same sort of struggles and same sort of problems that we're facing, we all seem to still be facing. And yeah, it's time to do something. It's time to maybe if there was just something there for those people, to build courage and things like that and to help them along. And if there was some other homeopaths that could bring information in, but I didn't want to do something that said, oh, hi, I'm Jess and, oh, this is my membership,
Yeah.
So the people who jumped on board straight away, people who have tried to practice and it's been really hard and overwhelming. So they got it immediately. They're like, yeah, I get what you're saying, support and camaraderie and all that. And it's been amazing to watch them flourish. So they've gone from not practicing at all or seeing clients to seeing clients and figuring out that they actually know a lot more than they ever realized they knew. Because I really think that any homeopath that makes it through the graduation process, of 4 years or whatever it is now, they've already got all that knowledge in their heads, plus all their life experience, plus any other homeopath at home experience that they've ever had. And most homeopaths probably don't know how much is in their brain. So when we get together and we're chatting about things and cases and stuff, and, everyone's putting suggestions in and things like that, it's just like, wow, look at us, look at the hive mind. It's amazing.
There's a
Yeah.
lot to be said for that. Like with my team of homeopaths as well, when we get together, it's just unbelievable how we all see things from a different angle. And when we're actually collaborating, just this magical stuff that happens and that the learning gets absolutely amplified. It's
Mm.
great.
It's amazing how much everybody, knows together. So the way it kind of works is that we have a website. You can look at it, homeopaths.nz, and it's got a directory of our members, which has a really nice page each. So it's nice advertising. If you're really just starting to get set up, at least you've got a page somewhere and you can direct people to it and things like that. That was the idea behind that. We meet several times. At the moment, we're doing like a workshop thing on business and personal development. And really, we're just taking it step by step, like just grounding down, going to basics, having a budget, having a timetable, like working out how many hours we've got in the day, and then setting intentions around those out, what we can bring in and what we want and things like that. But also looking at things like, hey, what am I doing to get in my own way? Humans like to do that. I was just saying before that, life has thrown me a lot of things this last 5 years. And one of the things that's brought about for me is a lot of personal development. I've done a lot of personal development, a great deal. I've kind of smashed down to the ground and rebuilt, and looked at things and gone, oh, I didn't realize that was there. And why I do that and things like that. So I really think that that's a really big part of success in anything, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. You can only ever grow your business as far as your own personal development has gone. You can't ever grow past that. Your business will never grow bigger than what your personal development has grown. So I think as practitioners and as people, I mean, if you want to have a fun time on earth, it's kind of why we're here, is to do personal development. And sometimes it takes big things and sometimes there's little things that nudges us in that direction. But
yeah, the big things are called kensho, I think. The term is kensho when you get something that smashes you apart and you sink or swim. That's a kensho thing, and that promotes growth. And the other one is senko. I wrote it down. That's just steadily growing. Yeah, but the kensho things tend to make you grow faster. The best thing about being a homeopath is using homeopathy alongside personal development. Oh, this came up. Oh, I have this deep fear of this, oh, I know a remedy for that. That's going to help me. And on to the next phase.
It's amazing. I never tell clients this, but, homeopathy is a personal development course in itself, because as you're taking the remedies, you're getting these aha moments and some seemingly out of nowhere, just suddenly you get this thought and it's like, oh, that's what I should be doing. Or, oh, I didn't realize that thing was still affecting me. I thought I'd gotten over it. So
the ghost in the room.
Yeah, lucky you had. And homeopathy with you.
My friend and I were talking about this once, how sometimes the effects of the remedy is so subtle you think you've kind of done it yourself, or and that's the ghost in the room. Is it the remedy? Is it not? It's like there's a ghost there, but is it there?
Amazing. And the membership, is it just for people in New Zealand? I guess with time zones?
No, we have set meeting times and they're really great because the members all know each other and are friends and stuff. So there could be issues with time differences, not so much for the UK, you just minus 12 hours or plus 12 hours. And Australia, not so much. But yeah, apart from the time difference, the stuff is the same, I believe, without having done a demographic survey in every other country.
And how do you do the meetups? Is it via Zoom, or do you have a Facebook group, or how does that all work?
Yeah, it's all online. Nobody lives near anybody. And that was got to be one of the best things that came out of lockdown, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Online stuff. Yeah. Because, we'd still be having to, I meet up with our local whangarei homeopaths quite regularly, and I love that. Rosemary Mathers. I
remember the name.
And that's great. But the online stuff makes it just so much easier, doesn't it?
It really does. But although it's so lovely when you've met somebody online, and then you get to meet them in person as well. Like it's just the best. We had our little, because we're obviously traveling around Australia, Sarah and I had a catch up in Melbourne with just whoever was in the area and wanted to come hang out. And a couple of my clients arrived who I'd seen for, years, and then you get to see them in person. It just feels like you've always known them in person. It's strange.
It's the height thing that always gets me.
It's always the height thing. Yeah.
Because we got to go, Kate and I went to the graduates the College of
Oh,
Natural Health and Homeopathy
yeah.
graduation last year. And yeah, the amount of names I knew, not only from Cakes and Cases, but from Raina Opus,
Yeah.
and I was just like, this is phenomenal. And they
Oh.
hadn't had an in-person graduation for a long time. But yeah, the heights, I always think people are going to,
Yeah.
oh, you're tiny, you're tall, Yeah.
That is funny. Well, I'm so glad that you're doing this because I really do think that's the kind of like the key that's been missing with um especially when people graduate and then you're just kind of like left out in the big wide world without like a slipstream to go into to kind of this is your next step. And I think memberships like yours is what it should be set up actually with all the colleges that here are the memberships, go join this straight away even before you've graduated so that you're being held.
Being held, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard to quantify what that means. I'm trying to explain what you get in the membership, but because it evolves with you, like it's like you need the skills to set up a website. Let's do that.
It's all right. Well, you are really good at holding space. And I think that's what the main thing is, like being able to have people who know how to hold space well so that everyone can develop in that. And that's actually why when Jess mentioned about the network before, she said, I posted in the network to ask if there's mentoring or catch up or something like that. And I'm assuming you mean the Facebook group, the New Zealand Homeopathic Network Facebook group, which by the way, if you are listening to this and you're in New Zealand and you're a student or a homeopath, go check out the Facebook group New Zealand just NZ Homeopathic Network. So I actually started that in 2013. And then when we moved to Australia, I asked Jess if she could take the Facebook group over because she is so good at holding space. So it makes perfect sense that you would be doing this. Yeah, be in this position where you're holding space for others.
That's really nice. I did find out some things, and I'm not very good at, looking at my strengths. I'm good at looking at my weaknesses. Oh, yeah, but what I've realized is that I do see potential in people, and I'm good at supporting people. And I actually have unconsciously done that my whole life. And I was like, okay. And knowing that's been really cool because it's kind of shown me what kind of homeopath I am. I'm like, I support people into things like there's educating homeopaths and there's also, you've got to know who you are deep down, I think, to know what kind of homeopath you are. So I've kind of angled everything I do around that now.
That is really cool. Probably about 3 years ago, I did a personal development course with a lady, and that was the first time I've ever heard about human design. And so she did the human design for the 4 or 5 of us that was in this like closed group. And one of the ladies in there, who's also a really good friend of mine, our human design charts almost completely, like when you overlay it, completed each other's gaps. It was quite crazy. Everything where I didn't have something activated, she did. And where she did, I did it. Like it was really great. And it turned out from her human design that she thrives in a supporting type role. And for me, who I couldn't understand how that could be what somebody wants. Like, how could you want that? You want to be the main singer in the band. You don't want to be the drummer. For me, with my big mouth, I was like, I couldn't imagine that. And she was like, Eugenie, that is literally where I am at my happiest when I am that person. And so that was very interesting. And I think it's also funny because, of course, you know how it all works. I just interviewed Lauren Hubelay this morning, and she is integrating human design with gemotherapy and homeopathy. And Luke Norland is going to be releasing a book. I hope I'm allowed to say this in the future, where he's also integrating all of these things. I might have to just check with him so I don't get in trouble. But I do think understanding our human design and how we all work is going to be the next step for homeopaths for our clients, but also for ourselves, for our own personal development, but also for our clients when they keep on like slamming against a wall with their work or their personal life or whatever. It's like maybe because that's not actually what your design is supposed to do. And I can give you all the remedies on the planet, but if you're doing something that your design's not naturally supposed to do, you are going to run out of energy and things aren't going to flow and it isn't going to be easy for you. So if you understand your human design, combine that with homeopathy, things are going to flow a lot easier.
Yeah, wow, I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head. A lot of this membership kind of offers personal development, which is a bit different. And we're doing this business and personal development workshop, because for me now, personal development is in everything now, and I'll guide clients to bits and pieces, for quizzes and things like that, or just wherever it pops up. It's just, it's part of life now for me. Like, this is great. I'm going to keep doing it. But and I think just healing from that burnout and designing my life how I want to, realizing that I do my best at support. And so having to let go of all the other things that I thought I should be doing and just go, you're a support person. This is what you're going to do. And healing the body and everything like that. I feel back, I feel like for a while there, I did question, especially in those times when I was alone, I did question if I was going to be able to keep doing it because, my body was burnt out and I was not sure, which I'm like, it was really sad because I love homeopathy. You know that. We know that. Love it. But I felt like I wasn't in love with it anymore. I felt like it was.
You were just friends. You were not.
We're just not sure. But
I love it, but I'm not in love with it.
But it's a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But every time I went to go, I think I need a break and something would open up. And so I think that's where you were saying something about trust. Were you saying that when we were recording or before?
I don't know. If it sounds good, then I'll say that I said it. If it doesn't, then I'll say it wasn't me.
But that I know that I'm supposed to be doing this, because those little doors, it would be just enough that I could keep going, and here I am and I'm back in love with it. And that feels great.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, but this community stuff this membership has really lit me on fire because I'm doing, like you say, something that's in line with my human design and what I know about myself. And I'm just loving the members, and there is a testimonial from Janice Wasserman I asked them, I was like, can I share your names and things like what can I talk about? They're like, it's great, you can chat away. Yeah, and there's real commitment there. And I just remember coming off the meeting when I realized it was working and I was like, they're back doing that on your feet. Oh, that's great. Like I get goosebumps thinking of it.
That's amazing because it's just heartbreaking that you spend so much money and so much time studying something that you don't end up putting into practice. And so I think what you're doing is amazing.
Walking away,
Yeah. We need you back. Come back.
Janice is brilliant. Like she has the kind of mind that can go down rabbit holes. She can see things in a different way. And she's very, very generous with her information. And I
know, because the reason I know her is that I've seen her spend countless hours giving advice on Facebook groups. And that's why I know her name, because I've seen it come up just everywhere with her giving advice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, she's phenomenal and just makes me really, really sad that the Janices out there that are not practicing because she's such a gift, They all are.
No, amazing. Well, good on you for doing this because that would have taken a lot of balls as well, actually saying this is what I'm going to put out there. And it's scary doing these things. It's really scary. I know with my memberships, obviously, but differently, but oh my gosh, I had so many sleepless nights and it's just like, oh, what are people going to say? Am I actually going to be able to help anyone? Do I actually know anything? Like, is it all going to bomb? And I did a membership 4 years ago and it completely bombed. You will never hear about it because it never happened. Like it was just the hugest, we wasted like 6 months of my husband working his butt off on creating this membership, setting it up. We paid thousands to create this platform because nobody wanted to be on Facebook. It was the most epic failure. And I love talking about it because you often in wherever, social media, whatever, we'll just hear about the successes. You won't hear about the mistakes. Well, we made the most epic mistake. We wasted so much time and so much money. And you learn so much from those mistakes because when we then 4 years later launched our membership again and people were bitching that it's on Facebook, I'm like, I've made that mistake. I'm not doing that again. It's a bit of a necessary evil. I prefer not to be on Facebook, but that's where everyone is. And you know what? I've already paid thousands of dollars, wasted lots of months to realize that if you do it off Facebook, it is just crickets, and I'm not going to do that again. So it just makes you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. So
there's no such thing as a mistake, really.
Oh no,
It's waiting to happen. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean,
this could bomb, but I've given it a good go, and this has been in my brain forever. So it's feels good but you're right, the whole doubts and things, I've just had to trust again.
You have it.
If it's what's needed, then it will be good. And I have lots of ideas for the future and the membership. in the growth, and just getting what I want to do is reinvest in our homeopathy. So get people to come and present things, and pay them for their time.
I think if you feel at all called to work with Jess, you definitely get in touch. I'll tell you a little bit of a side story just from high school is that Jess it was one of those girls that everyone just wanted to be her friend, and she was friends with everyone, and just the kindest, nicest, loveliest person. This geeky little South African kid just turned up there and looked at all these people. And I just looked at Jess, go, just she was friends with everyone. And then, with your social media, all these years that I always check with your dancing, and you've got so many incredible girlfriends, so many incredible people around you. And it's because you're so good at holding space and you have such a beautiful energy. So it sounds to me like you're completely in your flow, because what you have with being able to hold that with kindness and love and respect and your beautiful energy, I think anybody that comes into that when they're in resonance with you and with your membership, they're just going to learn so much, and they're going to be given the opportunity to grow. So I think it's quite unique. It's quite, I think, boutique and unique what you're doing. But I think the ones, boutique.
All of those so nice.
Yeah. It's so true though. It's so true. Bespoke. I believe that is the bespoke is the word.
Bespoke. Yeah, that's
unique.
Bespoke.
Boutique.
I just learned so much from those other homeopaths that are there, and the more that their confidence builds, the more that they just access all that information, and so every time I learn something.
Amazing. So do they go to Fruition Homeopathy, or where do they? And actually, you have to sit up a little bit so they can see your T-shirt, because I see you've got your Fruition T-shirt on today. I love it.
I actually have a Homeopaths NZ T-shirt. I've got a Radar Opus T-shirt, and this is the one I ended up wearing.
Aww.
I think the other I just ran out of time to change, but
love it. So where do people get information, and where do they sign up? And is it like a rolling sign up? Can they sign up anytime, or do you just have a certain intake?
Oh yeah, so it's homeopaths.nz. And I will meet individually with whoever's interested to just chat to them about it and, what it could offer them, and so that they can get an idea of things before they even sign up. So that's no obligation. Won't hold you to anything.
Okay.
Nice to see you anyway. That'll take about half an hour. And then, just join in, just jump on board, and then we just go from there. There is a joining fee, but from time to time I just kind of have a special and we waive that. So keep an eye out for that. The joining fee really just covers getting everything set up, because we've got a Homeopathy at Home Facebook group as well.
Awesome.
For New Zealand. Yeah. And so that's a good place to get in, and our members are group experts in there and answer questions and things like that.
Beautiful.
And then away we go, and we sort of just go with you, But like one of our members who is still working full-time and now is seeing clients and has just been approached to give a talk that she's going to get paid to do. They're like, do you want some money to give a talk on homeopathy? I was like, that's so cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, just putting it out there and just committing to it and just being accountable.
And are you still taking on clients as well? Because there might be some people who want to book a consult with you. And
yeah, I have. Yes. I'll just say yes.
Yes. And it's just I think it was Fruition mindbody.co.nz.
Mind, Body, Health.
Yeah.
.co.nz, yeah.
Easy peasy. Awesome, Jess. Thank you so much for today. It's always a lovely excuse to get to hang out if we do a podcast.
Sorry, Marco, that I didn't talk about radar.
No, that's it. We've talked about radar a few times. Did Marco ask you to?
No.
No. Yeah. And actually, Jess is also the rep for Radar Opus in New Zealand as well.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's awesome company. I just love them so much. I don't know how do you do life without radar? Like every single day, the first thing I do is I open up my email and I open up my radar and then open up other stuff. But those are the first two that get opened up every morning. Yeah. I was chatting with
last time.
I was chatting with somebody the other day, and they're in their 70s and practicing for decades, and they have just purchased Radar Opus. And I'm like, oh man, that's badass. That's so cool that you've used just book repertories your whole life, and that you're actually brave enough to go and purchase a electronic repertorization software. I love that because it makes life so much easier. Anyway, this could very quickly turn into a radar podcast. We'll just say hi to Marco. Hi, Marco. And I'll chat with you soon, Jess.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.